All right, the next one we have is our favorite player ever. And because I'm hosting this, I'm going to do a power play. I'm going first. It's Paul Sackey. Paul Sackey is one of my favorite players ever, purely for just, he is what I wish I was in rugby. Effortless talent that doesn't care. And just still, all those England caps, not being a very fast winger, but just being one of the most awkward people to tackle in rugby history.
His brilliant in 07, wasn't he?
Yeah, his arms were so long, his hands were humongous, and he's played in so many good teams as well. He was there when the Wasps were at their best. He was there when London Irish were starting to be a threat at the start of his career. And he was part of that Toulon era where Johnny Wilkinson first came over there. And of like, he's just been weirdly part of so many great teams, and he was the shining light in a very terrible England 2007 Rugby World Cup team.
Yeah, he did. He actually dragged you out of a few holes sometimes.
If not for a scumbag named Brian Habana, he would have got the most tries at that World Cup. But unfortunately, that heathen. That bastard Brian, who seems like a nice guy.
He seems a phenomenal rugby player.
Had one of the best World Cups ever. Like, if that World Cup was marketed better, Brian Habana could have been that next Lomu of just watch him play, and just someone who's that much faster than everyone at that time. Just like exciting to watch. And Paul Sackey is my guy because he makes me laugh, and I love him.
That's a fair call.
That's entirely reasonable. This is going to be a hard one to argue, because you can't argue with raw passion. You've gone for a guy who you wish you were.
Yes.
I played back row, so I'm going to go for a guy I wish I was, also from my own nation, who's Jamie Heaslip. Jamie Heaslip was my favorite player ever.
Oh, amazing.
He was the pro's pro and the play's player. He was like, if there was ever a guy who matched brawn and brains, it was that guy. He was a proper athlete and had a rugby intellect like nobody else. Leinster don't win anything without Jamie Heaslip.
Yeah.
His subtle plays, his clever little blocks. He was always just the right side of the ref, even when he was breaking the rules. He got away with it. Yeah. He was always the hardest worker. He was always the biggest impact player. He had a really cool head. I remember in the 2009 Lions tour, he was brilliant in that. In the 2009 Heineken Cup final, it was his first big game. It was Johnny Sexton's first big game. And he actually made an error where he knocked the ball on. And Johnny Sexton started screaming at him and roaring at him in a very Sexton-esque way. And then Jamie just turns around and goes, "Hey, calm down." That's Jamie Heaslip. He was such a cool customer in the biggest occasions, and yet he always delivered. And in terms of just freak athlete, he was unreal. He was until he was injured in the very end. He was never injured. He was always super professional. He always delivered. And he was just such a physical specimen. He's everything I wish I was.
Yeah, and he's also the best number 8 Ireland have ever produced.
Yeah, I'll second that.
I love a number 8 who can play ball. Like you see your Kieran Reeds on the wide channels picking passes, and Jamie could do that. And what really vexed me about our current Irish setup is that CJ Stander, who's a great player, and when he's at 6, he's a very physical player. He's not a number 8. Like, a number 8 needs to be able to pass the ball and put people in space. You see what Vermeulen was doing for the Springboks all season long, and then similarly what Vunipola does for England is just suck in defenders and then release the ball, whereas CJ kind of dies with it. Jamie was a similar caliber of reader like that, and then scored some of the great tries as well. A phenomenal player. So, I do have a soft spot for Jamie, and he's a nice man.
I'm a huge fan of Jamie.
I'm going to shift position as well. Like, obviously I was a scrum half. I'm not going to go with a scrum half, although some of my favorite players were scrum halves. I was flitting with Peter Stringer for a while. I'm going to go for my home nation, and I'm going to go with a winger who's just has produced so many great moments in my memory that I'm internally in his debt. It's Shane Horgan, Shaggy.
Oh my God, I was going to say Shane Horgan.
I love Shane Horgan to bits and pieces. He is so good. Like, he's just as part of, he had such longevity. He started out as a 12 in the early noughties and played some phenomenal games in there. Shifted to 14, where he didn't have out and out pace that you would associate with a winger. But his hands, the high ball, he was indomitable at. The try he scored against England again in Croke Park, where he caught the ball over the head, that actually prompted the Springboks to start getting GAA coaches in to teach them how to catch the ball over the head, which is a technique you find in Gaelic football where you use your hands like that.
I played a little Gaelic.
Yeah, savage.
Yeah.
Also, and my dad's, you probably get this a lot where people talk about how Irish they are.
Yeah.
But my dad's grandma's from Cork, I think it's called. I played Gaelic football just because my school, like I said, we had loads of Irish guys. So the Irish guys played rugby, and they were like, I played in midfield. I've never run so much in my fucking life.
Midfield is
that pitch is huge. How do you have
to run the whole time? It's phenomenal.
It was also, I love Gaelic football, actually. I wish I could get into it.
Yeah, Shaggy has some of those Gaelic football.
He does. He has those, and I love seeing, like, I really don't like seeing Irish players who can't catch a ball like that, because I think it's a fundamental Irish skill as part of Gaelic.
What, the above the head sort of?
Above the head like that. And it became such a weapon for Leinster in his later years when he wasn't getting picked for Ireland because Tommy Bowe was playing brilliantly. But
it was because Declan Kidney had a
because Declan Kidney didn't like him. But also, like, he was Johnny Sexton and him had this telepathy off kickoff where he would just switch, kick to Shaggy. Shaggy would catch over whoever was against him, and then we'd have the ball and go again. Like, he scored some of the best tries ever for Ireland. He's been, like, seminal, important, context-filled moments. And he's also the top try scorer for Leinster of all time. 69 tries for Leinster,
wow.
He's a phenomenal player. And he's also my namesake. I love him.
I'm not sure if you remember it, but he scored a try against England for the Triple Crown in 2006, where he was just full body extension. He was right.
I think Lewis Moody was tackling him
right on the right wing, and it looked for all money like he wasn't going to get there, and he all 6'4" of him just right along the touchline and on the very tough long extension, like Jacques Ferry's try against the Lions. It was just one of those all-time great finishes.
Yeah,
so I'm a huge fan of Shaggy as well.
As far as favoritism, he's given me so much joy over the years. It's hard not to.
It's a weird thing with Jamie Heaslip. Like, when you speak about him now, I get it. But when I was watching Jamie, I never got it, if that makes sense. Like, why he always got in these teams. Because it's weird, like, that when he was awesome, I wasn't watching as much club rugby, if that makes sense. And it's like, I never saw the Jamie Heaslip that you talk about. It's sort of a weird thing. But, like, he's won a Lions tour. He's
one of the greats, no question.
And he is the best 8 that Ireland's produced.
No question at all.
And I feel your pain on CJ Stander. It's like, he plays so well that you have to pick him, but he's so limiting. Maybe that's your argument with La Mappe, but I will not let you say it.
You're walking yourself into the valley here.
Literally, this series is just me coming around to what you guys have. That makes sense.
Exactly the plan.
But I'm not sure that I have the heart to debate anyone on this.
I think we're all
entitled to our favorites.
All entitled to our favorites.
I feel like we can let this one slide, like, we're all right, and the last one is where we will see who's
for sure. But we would say to the commenters, drop your favorite player and why down below, because we'd love to. There's been some phenomenal players and some great memories.
There really aren't many wrong answers.
No, there aren't. So how about it?
Paul Sackey is like, the first video I made on this channel was a highlight video for Paul Sackey. It was like, that's how I started like editing. I was like, who am I going to do a highlights video of? Paul Sackey. Like, just find all the niche clips of him playing for his clubs. But
brilliant.
I was going to pick Johnny Wilkinson as he was my hero when I was young.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, just like, he's everything I love about rugby. Hardworking, not that bashful with it. He lets his rugby do the talking, and sort of like, he's one of the best role models I think rugby's ever had.
I was tempted by Shane Williams as well, actually, another Shane winger, but just because that little guy like the fact that he's so small, but he just made it look so easy. Like, some beautiful plays at him, but he is Welsh, so I don't know. He's caused me pain as well as joy. So whereas Shaggy's just been in.
You know who else Welsh? Gavin Henson. When he first burst on the scene, like, I love the hair. I love the silver boots. I love that he can kick it for miles. I was like, I want to be that guy. I remember when Matt Tate had his debut and he just owned him. And I was like,
actually, I do remember that game. That was one of his best performances.
Oh man,
for Gavin.
So many people I've played with who are my age. It's like a weird thing where, I don't know what age I would have been, like 12. Loads of centres I've played with say like, oh, who inspired you? They say Gavin Henson. Because he could do everything. He was he could play 10. He was a passer. He was really physical in defence. Like, he made dump tackles when that was like cool. Where like, I remember Scott Gibbs did one in the '97 Lions tour, and I saw it recently. I was like, fucking out there.
The stuff you can get away with.
That's true, actually. Yeah, some
the
of those retro
snapping as well back
then.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I think longevity didn't the years didn't run as kindly to Gavin as they probably ought to. He had such a talent, and actually the most recent one we watched, Pro 14. Bernard Jackman, former Leinster player, then coach of Dragons, put an enormous amount of faith in him to just be the 10, be the leader in the young team.
I think I watched the documentary.
And the first game of the season, he had one of the worst performances I've ever seen from 10. He missed the key tackles for the tries. That
was his last game. His last ever game. Was for Dragons, and it was the first game of the season. And then Jackman cut him after that. Because it was one of the worst. So it's his story has really ended in tragedy. He's really fallen from the very best all the way down.
I just remember how much the Kiwis hated him. I was like, like I remember when Nonu. Do you remember when Nonu assaulted him when he was kicking? I've never seen anything like it. I was like, oh my god.
He invited that on himself a little bit with the hacker. Like certainly in Ireland, he was one of the players we loved to play against because we wanted to ruffle every single one. Wanted to rough him up. And he's had some bad days in the RDS where he's come and the crowd have just bayed him out. Every time he gets the ball, there's howls of derision, and then anytime he slices it in out in the full, it's all right, Gavin, all that kind of stuff.
What a cruel life Gavin's led. Everyone just hating on him. Man. He's just trying to be his true self, be mixed race. What? But I really like. I have a real soft spot for Shane Horgan actually because
well, you're a winger as well. He's
just he's an amazing. Like it was sort of playing. I like players who just sort of do what they do well, and that's how they get by. Like Wilkinson, it was the kicking. Hogan, it was just being a physical presence like no other on the wing.
Well, he had in terms of club rivalries, when Leicester were the great force that they were, Alassana Tuilagi, the first of the wave of Tuilagis that swept World Rugby. Him and Shane Horgan had some great battles. I think they played each other 3 or 4 times, and like either one of them got the better of each other in different exchanges, but they were 2 great physical wingers going toe to toe. And actually one of my favorite Shane Horgan clips comes from I think like 01 or maybe 02, where Jonah Lomu was charging down the touchline at Shane Horgan, and he tackled him. He just put him down, and the whole crowd, Lansdowne Road, goes, "Wow!" I've never seen the like of it. Go on, Shaggy, you actually tackled the monster.
He's better than the go. He's better than the go.
I wouldn't say that now, but what I would say is he tackled.
What's it? That was a massive. I remember the first time I saw. So I never watched like Lomu in order, if that makes sense. The first time I saw Lomu was on that England documentary where they did the Autumn Internationals in the Six Nations, and I saw him bump Phil Vickery like out of his boots. Like he had that face on him, and like Phil Ricky's gone in, and he's just gone boom, and I was just like, oh my god, who is this man? And he had that little tuft on his head. I was like, how's he going? Why does no one par him for that? Like,
he could get away with it.
Oh man.
Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to Overlap Rugby for coming on and being a couple of great lads. If you enjoyed this video, there is more to come on both of our channels this week, so please do subscribe to them on their channel, and I'll leave their link in the description. Anyway, take it easy guys. Signed NGJ.